everyone, it's Sal. I hope you are all well, and thank you so much for joining me live here today for our November version of the Tarot Mastery free psychic seminar that I give for your free tarot tips and my latest kind of things that I'd love to share with you. I just would love to check in and see if everybody can hear me and if you are here. If you are, because sometimes Facebook does very strange things, just type in, hi, I'm here, and where you're from, just so that I can see your comments and I can make sure I can respond to them throughout this live feed. Now, if you are joining me for the replay, then you will be watching it on YouTube. So just click subscribe to make sure that you get these every month. Otherwise, you might not be getting them and you might have to go through this process of trying to wait for the replay. And it's obviously much more efficient for you time-wise just to click subscribe here. Cool. I can see that I'm being joined by several people, but if you're here live, could you just jump in the chat box and let me know that you're here? Just post a comment and say hi, or I can hear you. Otherwise, I think I won't be able to see your comments. And then if you ask beautiful questions, I won't be able to answer them. So right now I can't see any comments. So that's why if you could just pop in, hi, I'm here, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Marcy from New York. Thank you so much for that. Now I can just be sure that everyone is here and they can hear me. So for those of you who haven't been here before, I do these every second month and I just share my latest tips with you and things that I have found that people have been confused about throughout the months and the last month since I did one, and I like to answer those questions. And of course you can answer any questions you like throughout this. You can ask me any questions you like, but if you could save them to the end, because I do tend to miss them when the feed goes really fast. So I'm really happy to answer any questions you like. I'm also going to be announcing the Black Friday competition. I do this every year and I love it and it makes me so excited. So this part of this year's Black Friday competition is that I'm going to be giving away a free tarot reading, a 1-hour reading that will be done early next year. And I think it's kind of a little bit special because due to my teaching schedule, I'm actually not booking any new clients at the moment. So this is actually the only way you can get a tarot reading with me at the moment, is to win this competition. So I'm going to share that with you after I go through this month's questions and any questions anyone asks. Hello, Laura. Thank you from London. It must be very late where you are right now. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Stacey. Thank you, Christine from Phoenix. Thank you, Jennifer from North Carolina. Thank you guys so much for that. So before I get started, I'm just going to do a little overview of what it is I'm going to talk about today, just so that you've got an idea of the topics I'm going to cover. So I'm going to be looking at the question of how to get more precise readings and maybe just answering any queries for you about books or resources to get more precise readings. I'm also going to be looking at which spreads are best to use for love or career, because I do get asked that a lot. I'm also going to be answering the question, how to use your intuition to pick a tarot deck. This is a fantastic question, so I'm going to be exploring that for you as well. I'm going to be talking about timelines and time frames, because I do tend to get asked that quite frequently. I'm actually going to add a lecture into Tarot Card Success on this month, because I do get asked it so often. But I will answer that question here now anyway for the person that asked it. Now, this is a great question that I really liked. So in Tarot Card Success, I teach you that if you end the reading on a negative card, then to just pick another one until you get a more positive card. And I wanted to explain that process more, just so that it's not confusing. But someone also asked, can I add an oracle card at the end? So I'm going to talk about the concept of using an oracle card at the end of a tarot deck or a tarot reading. Also, I've been asked quite a few times this month, what course should I do next after Tarot Card Success? So I'm going to explore that. And I'm also going to be looking at, I think that's everything. Oh, someone asked in the group this week that they said they had a client who came to them and she gave them a horseshoe love reading, and a week later they came back and wanted basically another love reading, but relatively the similar question, a bit different, and how to handle that. So I'm going to talk about that too as well. Hello, Laura. Thank you. So Nalini, Ashwin, thank you so much for your beautiful review. I really appreciate anyone who takes the time to just click the star buttons and write some feedback when you are on Udemy. That really means a lot to me. Joan Luciano, thank you. Cara Jones, Navia PS, Maurice, Adelie. And yeah, if you are in the course and you just happen to have a bit of extra time, if you could just put a few comments in the review section, that would be really, really helpful. So thank you to everyone who's done that. I really appreciate it. So let's get started. And as I said, guys, those of you who are here live, or even if you're watching the replay on YouTube, you can pop your questions here and I will answer them as I go through this. Or if you're watching the replay, I'll come back and answer them next week. Hello from New Jersey, Anna. So I'm going to get started by this question that was asked in the group this week, where someone said, can I have a recommendation for a book that will give me more precise reading? So this person said, I'm overwhelmed with this course. There's thank you for your guidance, but there's too much information. Can you just give me one book that's going to give me more precise readings? Now, the thing with that question, and it is a great question and it's an understandable question. We all want more precise readings. I mean, after all, that's why most of us are doing this. However, can I just say, for your own sanity and your own being kind and gentle to yourself, that most people that ask this question ask it when they're just getting started in the course. So they haven't even completed the course and they're maybe halfway through, and then what starts to happen is that then they start to practice and people will start answering them really advanced questions. So like their friends and family, or even people in the group, will start saying like, well, what's my life purpose, and where will I be in 5 years time, and what job should I do, and when will I get married? And what they don't understand, and then they might think, well, Sal hasn't taught that in Tarot Card Success, like I don't remember that being answered. And so they'll go back and maybe look at their notes, and then they'll think, oh, I don't get this, it's too hard, that's too much information. And the reason they don't get it is because these are what are called advanced level questions. And most people that are beginners don't get that in the beginning you really should just be focusing on the question, what do I need to know about this situation, and applying, and you can name the situation, like if it's a relationship, if it's a career, and then apply that to the cards that come out. So that way you're just starting to get the gist. And no, it might not be the most precise reading on the planet, but expecting an incredibly precise reading before you've been reading for quite a few months, for me it's usually up to 4 to 6 months, is a little bit like expecting to win a gold medal at the Winter Olympics when you've only just done ski school, for skiing. Like, it takes time and practice, and it also sometimes takes extra study. And the reason I have additional higher level courses is because people will ask you these questions like, what is my life purpose? So I have a whole course dedicated to that, the careers and life purpose course. And people will ask things like, when will I get married? And so I have a whole higher level course once you've completed the basics. So that's what, and I know, and I will have to just add, I do know that it's frustrating because you just want to learn it all at once and you want to get there now. But please treat the tarot like a craft, like making jewelry or any of the old school crafts that we once knew took time. And again, I'm not mocking or ridiculing or judging any other instructors, but I do laugh when I see actually laughing is mocking, so I am mocking. Let's change that. I do kind of raise my eyebrows in a non-judgmental way when I see someone say, learn tarot in 5 hours or 7 hours. And I go, well, yeah, you could probably do the course in 7 hours, but there's no possible way that I can ever know, in the thousands of readings I've done and thousands of students I've taught and many, many readers I know, that you could answer questions like, what is my life purpose, when you've studied a course for 5 hours and it's a beginner level course, or, when will I get married, or where will I be in 5 years time, when you just started to learn the cards. Because again, it takes time and practice. And so please, I know you are anxious to get there fast, but be gentle, practice, be prepared to make mistakes. You will make mistakes. And can I just ask everybody who is in this group and who is helping people practice, please be kind, and please don't, if someone says, I want to practice 3 readings in exchange for feedback, don't rush out and ask that person, what is my life purpose? Because they might not have learned how to do that yet. So just ask very basic level questions and see how they go, and be incredibly kind to them, because being a learner is not really a lot of fun for anything sometimes. Sometimes it's exciting, but when you fumble like an apprentice and you think, oh, I'm never going to get this. So please be kind and compassionate to your fellow members of the groups and ask simple questions, and that gives them confidence. There's nothing worse than denting someone's confidence by asking them a super advanced question that only someone who's been reading for 2 or 3 years or more would really be able to get the nuances of. The other thing I wanted to add with the precise readings thing is, and again, it's a very common mistake. I'm excited. I'm going to make another lecture for Tarot Card Success about this because I've been getting it more and more and more. And that is the question of, people will ask these questions that are really quite random and just not suited for the tarot. Like things like, which country should I live in? There is no card that says Greece or Spain or India. Like that's no card there, but you can do, what do I need to know about living in X country, and doing it like that. Now I speak about the multiple choice questions and how to do that, and I would say they are great. It is great to, you can choose to say, okay, 1 card for Italy, 1 card for Greece. But can I just say, in my own personal life, and if I had a client, I would never just pick 1 card if they're going to up their whole life and move to another country and only give them 1 card, because that's a lot riding on 1 card. I mean, anyone who's ever lived and moved to another country knows it's an incredibly stressful and incredibly expensive and risky venture. So I would tend to do a deeper reading and do a Celtic cross or a horseshoe about, how will it unfold in 7 months if I take this path? Because that's, again, giving them more of an idea about maybe the ups and downs that could happen as well. So just keep that in mind. Thank you, Nicole. That's a beautiful compliment. So I hope that helps a bit more with people that are feeling frustrated that they're not getting that preciseness so quickly. The other thing I will add to that is, again, and I do understand, and I was exactly like this when I got started. So when I first started teaching on Udemy, I was really one of the only 2 or 3 people teaching tarot. Like that was about 8 years ago now. Now there's lots of people teaching it, and there's lots of people on YouTube, and I'm so excited that all over the world tarot seems to have become so much more accepted, and people are so much more excited to learn it. And every day thousands of new people are excited about the concept of creating a career from it. Like I'm so thrilled about this. However, can I just say that what tends to be the journey of beginning tarot readers these days, not some years ago, but these days, is they might jump on my course and they might not even start it yet, and they'll just jump into this group and start asking all these different questions of things they saw on YouTube. First of all, this particular group, Tarot Mastery, is connected to Tarot Card Success. So it is based on my teachings. And I'm not saying you can't mention anyone else's teachings. I'm certainly not precious about that. But if you're not even doing my course and you're just coming in here to just ask people questions about tarot, you're going to confuse the group and confuse yourself, because people will just say, look, well, where are you up to in the course? And if you haven't even really given the course a go, you're going to get tremendously confused, because each tarot teacher will teach things differently. I believe a question that was asked the other day was something like, I heard that the major arcana and the minor arcana can't be read from XYZ or something, and it's something I've never taught or known of. Or I've heard that every time you get the 3 of Cups, it always means this, which was nothing that I'd even ever heard of before, like you're going to leave your job or something. And I had to sort of go, look, well, that's not in my course. That's okay if you learnt that somewhere else. That's totally fine. But while you're beginning, maybe just stick to one teacher, master what that one teacher is teaching you, and then when you feel confident that you know under their mentorship and under their course, then think, hey, what else is out there, and go out there. Because I did have someone even write in the group, she asked me a question and she said, oh, I've just been reading more and more articles and I'm getting more and more confused. And that's really common, because everyone's got a different opinion about the tarot. So try my way, and then if that doesn't work, try another way. And the reason why I say to people that it's okay to have multiple teachers, just in the beginning, stick with maybe one until you feel like you've got their system, and then you can see for yourself someone else's system and then choose between the 2. It's very hard to choose between 2 systems when you're already not familiar with at least one system and have seen it have some degree of success. So I hope that makes sense. So again, I'm not saying don't go and look at other teachers, or don't go and look at YouTube, and don't go and look at other books. I'm just saying be prepared that the more of a beginner you are, you don't necessarily do yourself any favor by reading more and more and more from different people. As I said, you can quite easily get overwhelmed. And if you think, imagine you're like halfway through Tarot Card Success, you're just starting to learn the horseshoe, you're just starting to get things, and then you think, oh, I kind of want to learn more, and then you read an article and watch a blog post and see someone do it differently to me, and then you're like, have to take the time to go and ask me why I do it differently to someone else, and that takes time, and then you're confused in the meantime. So again, you're kind of just toying with your brain. You try to take on too many books, too much information. Stick to one system and then basically branch out and see how you go. So I hope that's helped for those of you who are following that, and those of you thinking maybe there is one book that'll give me more precise readings. In my experience, stick with something for 4 to 6 months, practice and practice and practice, and then and as I said, I've got intermediate courses that go more niching into more complicated questions like, when shall I leave my job, should I start this business, when will I get married, will we get back together? Like, they're the more higher level ones. Start just with the basics so you don't freak yourself out or overwhelm yourself. So I hope that helps, my loves, if you've been feeling a little bit confused. And look, I'm very honest I'm not saying, I can't sit here and say to you, I am the greatest tarot teacher ever and no one else is right and they're all wrong. I don't believe that at all. I just teach you what has basically worked for me in my readings and my clients. That's how, I'm not saying it's the guru god of all tarot, because I don't know that. I just know how I built my career for years and years and years came from what I'm teaching you guys, basically. So I hope that makes a bit more sense. And if you've got any questions about that, please pop them in here too, and I will get to them at the end. So, and again, this is actually probably following on a little bit. I often get asked, and again, often by very beginner people who haven't done my love course that comes after this one, or my career course that comes after this one, and they say, which spread should I use for careers? Or which spread should I use for, when will I get married? Now, in this beginning level, for those of you who are still in this beginner's course and you haven't done any other study, you're just doing this one, please just stick to the 3-card spread, the multiple choice spread, the Celtic cross, and the horseshoe, and the yes or no. And that's 5 spreads that you're dealing with. Learning those 5 spreads and learning 78 different cards under 3 different themes of general, career, and love, you're looking at 500 things that you are trying to incorporate into a reading. So that's why I say, look, in the beginning and the first few months, just really get to nail the horseshoe and the Celtic cross and the 3-card spread. Then I have other spreads that go more advanced that are in the love readings course for love and relationship spreads, and in the careers, like what is my life purpose spread and things like that. But I will be very honest with you, myself and the majority of professional readers I know, and every time I've kind of even gotten a reading from people, they tend to just stick to the same 4 or 5 spreads. They don't do 297 different spreads, because again, it's you're kind of losing the flow if you're constantly trying to remember what that is in a position. So I think if it's for yourself, and you might see one in another teacher, or you might see it on YouTube and you think, oh, I might try that on myself, but I wouldn't see a spread on YouTube or see a spread in this group that's kind of not taught in this course and you're a beginner and rush out and try to do it with on a professional level with someone, because again, you're trying to remember too many things and you'll just kind of get tripped over. So that's my advice, is start with the Celtic cross and the horseshoe and practice. Do 50 readings with those bigger readings and then move on to other ones. Hello, Preeti. Thank you for joining us. So, so again, about picking tarot decks. Now, many readers have more than one deck. I have 4, and I have quite a few oracle decks, but I do tend to stick to the same 1 or 2. But how do you know how to buy a new deck? Like, what's the system? Now, in psychic readings intermediate level, I do talk a lot about using your intuition on a deeper level to tune into decks. I'll just give you a couple of tips from that now. From me, it's always often a resonating thing with the images. I often just kind of get a real, I'll see an image and I go, oh wow, and it'll just like that. If I can touch it, I'll open it and I get that feeling inside. But if you can't do either of those things, then you can just resort back to doing the multiple choice highest number. You can actually just say you're choosing between 3 decks and just say highest good, which is the best deck for me right now, and just pick a card and go with the highest number or whatever is the most positive, and that you can do it that way. So, or as I said, as I teach in some of the more psychic-y based courses that I do, you can just hold a deck and tune into it and see if you get this yes or no feeling. So there's lots of different ways to do it. Try not to overcomplicate it. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not saying that decks are cheap, but, you know, at the end of the day, if you make a mistake, it's not like you're going to lose your house over it, you know. So don't put too much anxiety on yourself about picking the right deck. And I think people know from this course, like I actually originally started with the Crowley Thoth deck because I'd loved it when my friend had taught me it, and then it just kind of didn't feel right doing professional readings with it for me. It just didn't work anymore. So for me personally. So, you know, you might have that kind of journey for yourself. So I don't believe that you're ever going to really make a bad mistake with a deck. So I hope that's helped with that. Often I get asked, what course should I do next after Tarot Card Success? Now, there's a reason why I didn't create all my courses. So I've got 10 courses on Udemy, and I've got an advanced tarot program and psychic business program for people who want to be professionals and want to be, want to basically have more business coaching from me. And for me, the reason I didn't create a sequence like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 is because everyone who comes and does Tarot Card Success is coming from a different place of what they want out of their tarot journey. So my courses are kind of broken up into where you want to go and what your challenges are. So say, for example, so I've got Tarot Card Success is my base course of beginner level tarot. And then if you want to go more into looking at love readings and career readings, which are your most common readings you'll get, especially in a psychic chat line, or especially in phone readings, or in pretty much most readings, you will get more questions about love and career than any other. So it's how to niche. So those courses teach you to niche down those more complex questions that you're often going to get asked by people. Like, as I mentioned before, should I start this business? Are we going to get back together? What does he or she think of me? And, you know, I deal with all those more complex level questions. So if that's if you're really like, okay, I love doing love readings and I seem to get a lot of them, then look at doing the love readings course. If you're feeling like I want to know more about career and life purpose readings, then go and do that one. You can always go and do, because you have lifetime access, you can always go back and do whichever ones. Most people ask me a lot about timing, and I'm going to talk about that a bit next. But if timing is number one on your agenda, then I would go straight into the career course, because I do a whole thing about when in the career course. Now, you might say, hey, Sal, I'm actually happy with what I'm learning in Tarot Card Success right now. I don't feel I need to niche it down that much, but I'm having all these blocks. I feel like nervous when I read. I feel like people are going to judge me. I feel like, I don't trust my messages, or I want to be a professional at this, but I just feel like I would shame my family, or I feel like I'd embarrass myself. So I have 2 courses on blocks that help with that. I have one that is about past life therapy that will help you shift any past lives that you have that may be blocking you from using your gifts, either professionally or even personally. And then I have one that's called Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT Tapping, which is a healing course where you can heal yourself of that fear of making mistakes, or that fear of being judged. Some people don't have it and don't need to do it. That's why I haven't made it a compulsory course. It's just if you find yourself getting really extra nervous, it's a way to just kind of calm yourself before you do the reading, so you feel a little bit more grounded. But it also gets to the bottom of why, because there can be 26 different reasons why you may feel blocked, and so it gets to which one, and then you can kind of get the fine tuning and shift it yourself, or you can work with a healer. But if you're on a bit of a budget, then maybe doing that course helps a lot with that too. And then I have the business courses. So I have my Build Your Spiritual Business on a Budget, which is on Udemy. So that's a basic, practical introduction to spiritual healing businesses. And then I have my advanced tarot program if you want to be certified by me, or you want more kind of feedback and help and hand holding by me, then you can. That's on the Psychic Healing Academy. And then finally, I have what I call my psychic branch, which is How to Be Psychic, which focuses on your clairvoyance and connecting with guides and angels. And it also focuses on how to read oracle cards. And then it also has a higher level, which is called Psychic Readings Intermediate Level. So so wherever you feel like, if you feel like I want to strengthen my clairvoyance, go for How to Be Psychic and Psychic Readings Intermediate Level. If you feel like you're blocked, go for one of the block courses. If you feel like you want to really nail down those career and love readings, go for those ones. If you're ready to build a business, then look at the business side. So there's no right or wrong. And then there's the Master Health Readings if you're really interested. So health readings really only tend to comprise, I'm getting pins and needles. Health readings only tend to comprise about 10% of the readings you'll get done. But they are more complicated, and they do require a lot more sensitivity and a lot more diplomacy, and you can get into a lot of legal trouble if you're not doing them with a little bit of experience. So I don't usually recommend them for beginners, but I do have a health readings course on Udemy that can help you do those as well. Hi David, hello Luan, and hello Liz, and hello Elisa, and everyone else who's joined me. So that's kind of the run through. As I said, there's no right or wrong, but that might, if you try and go, where do I go next after Tarot Card Success, you might want to give some thought with that. So that would help too. So now let's look at, someone asked me a great question, which I haven't been asked before, but it's a question that kind of does make a bit of sense. I had to think about it a little bit when I was reading it. So she talked about future readings and wanting to get better with the future readings, because she says what often happens when she reads for someone else is that the things that she sees in those future positions, so say the final cards, are already happening for that client now. Now, this can be for the very easy reason that most things that are going on in our future energetically are often starting now. I don't want to be too vague about that, but let's look at something like the Death card, for example, which means that there's change coming in your life and you have to embrace that change, or you risk basically having more suffering, and you need that change to graduate. Now, let's say you are in a marriage and the marriage isn't working out. And the person gets that as the long term, and you might say, look, something does need to die. Doesn't mean you're going to break up, but something needs to change dramatically in this relationship, and that's come in the long-term future. And that person might say, well, that's going on now. Like, already I can feel like we're disagreeing on the house. I don't think we want to live in the same country anymore. And that's because our relationships as human beings and our existence on Earth, often things, because a 12-month reading might be from, the future card might be 3 months to 12 months, that stuff often starts before. Marriages don't just break up overnight. Often for years there can be stuff, eroding the relationship under the surface. And that can be the same with your job. Like, you might be like, something might be falling apart in your job. That could be going on for a while in the back scenes, and you may be just kind of putting up with it. But then you might get a card that says in the future that some big dramatic change is coming, and you might be saying, well, I feel like that's going on now. And that could be just the start of it. So that's why future cards can often be kind of happening as the now. And it might help to think that the past card isn't always what's happened in the past, but more what is influencing what's going on in your present. So that might help a little bit more if the future readings are being a bit muddled. Now, I will just add though, if you're finding this is happening all the time and it's really irritating you, if you're like, I feel like I'm getting it wrong all the time, you may need to just do something, a little bit of a healing blockage removal around getting it wrong, or something around that. But generally, I would say in most experiences, again, let's use the aces. Say you get an ace as your final card, which is, what should I know about my career? And you get an ace, which says there's a new thing coming in, and you go, but actually I've just been offered a job now. So shouldn't it be now? Now, again, the concept of looking for a new job, people can be looking for a new job for 8 months. Like, it's just the beginning fruition, basically, and that might be the end result. Yes, you leave and you start and you get a new job. So I hope that helps. Debbie, you feel like you're speaking directly to you. Well, but yeah, like things don't always happen in that specific time period. Things are not in that specific period. They're like, our journeys take time, and anything that happens, whether it's your marriage, your job, your career, your health, that they're not things that fall apart overnight. They often are starting to incrementally happen. So I hope that's helped for those of you who get a bit confused when a client, you draw a future card for a client and they say, well, that's kind of happening now. I say, okay, that just means that it's beginning, and try to link those two cards, the present one and the future one, together. See if they have a common denominator that you could think that could link them together. So anyone else asking questions, can you save them to the end, please? That would be great. So I hope that has helped. And so what happens so in the course I talk about if you end, and this has often been a little bit misunderstood over the years, so my apologies for the confusion when I first recorded this, but if you end a reading and there's a dark card, so like the Tower or Death or the Three of Swords, and I suggest picking another card. Now, I don't suggest doing this because I want you to just tell the people what they want to hear. I suggest doing it because picking another card, yes, stops them maybe wanting to go and throw themselves off a cliff, but B, it actually shows them that there is a pathway out of the rocky road or the terrible challenges that they are currently or about to experience. The additional card says, hey, yes, there's going to be a rough time. This is how you get out of it, by mastering the lesson of the rough card. So say it's the Nine of Swords, which is about your head's being done in, you might be feeling a lot of mental restlessness, but often it's actually not, you're making bigger mountains out of molehills. This is how you get out of this. And the additional card can give additional information. And for those of you who really want to do lots of things on time, pulling the additional cards is a great way to see how long it will take your client to get out of their current rut or their current challenge, or to get what they want. So you see me do that a lot more in the intermediate level courses. In the health course, I show, because health problems can go on for 2 or 3 years, so I might often end up pulling 4 or 5 cards before there's a victory, but that's okay. It's just showing it's going to take some time. These are the lessons to be mastered along the way, because our life experiences aren't all about just mastering one lesson. There can often be 3 or 4 in there, and that's why additional cards help kind of give a better timeline, but they also give more insight about how the person can get to where they want. So I hope that helps with that too as well. So, and again, as I said, people have mentioned to me, how do I get better with timelines? So for now, as a beginner if you're only enrolled in this course and this is where you're at, then just stick with the Celtic Cross and stick with the horseshoe, the past, the present, and the future, and then the long-term future. You've got 4 timelines there that you can play with. When you want to get more specific, then look at doing the career readings course and look at doing the love readings course, or even psychic readings intermediate level. I go into the when there. But don't rush to do that, because it does take kind of patience and time and a little bit of practice to kind of get what a card is saying in terms of time. Someone posted in this group that thing that I've seen around lately, and it's weird. I'd never seen it before until the last year. It seems to be everywhere on Facebook, where I think it's wands is days and cups is months, or something like that. I really personally don't like that system because I find it incredibly confusing. I could see maybe how a super advanced reader could read it, and I'm sure I could incorporate it into my readings if I wanted to, but as a beginner, the last thing you want to do is pull, you've got, say, a woman who's 39 who wants to have a baby, and she asks, when am I going to have a baby? And you pull the 10 of, say, Pentacles, and that's years, and you tell her 10 years, and she's like, well, I'm 39, how am I going to have a baby in 10 years? And it can lead to all sorts of confusion, that system, for me. Or when will I get married, and it's 3 days, and you're like, well, I'm single, how am I going to get married in 3 days if you got the 3 of Wands? So I would steer clear of those systems unless you've been already using them and you found that you love them and they work and you get spot on accuracy every time. For me personally, I think they lead to more problems than they solve. So that's how I feel about those kind of systems that use the wands as cups and all that. Hello, Jefferson. So I hope that's helped with that. Now, someone asked about giving frequent readings and said that they had a client who wanted a horseshoe reading about their love life, about a person they're dating, and then came back a week later and wanted a love reading for about the same person but in a slightly different way. A lot can change in a week. I do agree, but generally, I would say to that person they need to have space and time to let. Like most readings will have a 12-month span, so they need to allow those lessons. If you're coming and getting a reading in every week on the same question or the same person, you're really not allowing the tarot to share its wisdom with you to unfold and grow. And you kind of, that is the people that are just, and I understand I've been in that position where you're desperate for a fortune teller to just tell you it's going to be okay. But sometimes you've got to do some work and you've got to learn the lessons and you've got to put things into practice, and sometimes that can't happen in a week. So yeah, do give it time. I know in the course I talk about, months and months, but it doesn't always have to be months. Debbie, it happens with your housekeeper. You can't expect that your whole world, you're going to have learned all the lessons of the Death and the Tower in like a week. Nobody could possibly learn all those lessons, because the lessons of Death and the Tower are about letting go and surrendering. Or even the Moon, which is probably one of the challenging cards of going into your childhood and finding out what's caused you to feel these fears, and are they real, and that's going to take a lot longer than a week for most people. So if you got the Moon as your final outcome, then you're not going to have mastered that in a week. So yes, definitely allow as much space as possible. People can definitely come and ask you different questions, as if if they've asked you a love question, they come back a week later and ask you a career question. That's fine. It's just asking about the same relationship again and again and again will probably get you very either confusing results or just the same results. So yeah, Brenna, the seasons thing, I talk about that in either for days, months, years. Look, again, I talk about seasons in career readings and about how I read the seasons as a time predictor. I don't like it for days and weeks because I just, as I said, I can't explain it even better than that. It just intuitively doesn't work for me. If it works for you, great. But I think you run the risk with any question you ask the tarot, you have to be prepared that the answer might come out as something that is completely impossible. So as if in, well, no, that's wrong. I guess someone who is completely single and hasn't met anyone can get married in 2 days if they go on a holiday, and but most of the time those things, you need to make sure that can be answered with that system. If it can't, you are setting yourself up for basically your clients being very confused. And also I talk a lot about with time. For me, if you get too precise with time, you run the risk of people coming back to you and doubting you if they've got blocks that have interfered with that coming to pass. So say if you said to someone, you're going to get married, I feel like you're going to get married in 7 months. And 7 months later they come back to you and they're still single and they haven't met anyone they like, then they're going to really question that. And you think, oh, but I've got the 7 of Swords, which said 7 months, so it must be right, or whatever the months is in that system. So that's why I don't like that. I prefer to go in and say, what do I need to know about getting married, or what do I need to heal and shift and clear? That to me is a better way to help your clients. That's just a personal thing. Like I said, if it works for you, then do it. It's definitely not how I teach. It's not what I teach at all. But that makes sense. You don't read them as, Yeah, seasons are great. I love seasons. I do that a lot intuitively. Seasons are fantastic, but days and weeks I think is a little bit risky personally. So I hope that's helped with that. Okay, I think that's everything that I was going to ask. Oh, so the Black Friday competition. I'm so excited about this. So how you can win. And again, even if you're catching the replay, you can still earn, you can still win this reading with me. As I mentioned before, so this is something, it's worth $250 US. It's a 1-hour reading with me. And because of my teaching schedule, I'm actually not doing readings at the moment at all. So this is really the only way you can get a reading with me if you've ever wanted to get one, or you're curious about getting one with me. Basically, sorry, I just looked at another question. I will answer your questions in a minute. Thank you. So how it works, I run this every year. Sometimes I run it a bit differently. Sometimes it'll be connected to a course, but this year I'm running it where you win a free reading with me that will take place early in the year. So late January, early February. And it can be anything. It can be a love, it can be career, it can be general, it can be anything you want. Now, how you can enter this competition. To register, so you have to register to enter this, you need to purchase one of my other courses on Udemy this month, for the month of November, basically. So it can't be Tarot Card Success, but any of my other, so I've got 10 courses to choose from. I've just talked about some of them then. If you've got blocks, there's a blocks course, more for strengthening your clairvoyance. There's the psychic courses if you want to do the health readings course. So if you've been thinking, hey, I really would love to, I've been thinking about doing that, you've got extra incentive. Also, special tip, November's the best time to buy a Udemy course because it is Black Friday. It's the cheapest they will be all year, the biggest discounts you'll usually get all year. So it's a perfect time to buy one. So basically now, if you want to look at all my courses, if you go, I totally don't know, I can't remember what you just said, just go to www.saljade/Udemy courses, all one word, and I'll put that link in as well. So saljade.com/Udemy courses, and that has all of my 10 courses on Udemy. I also actually have a manifesting one for those of you who want to be professional psychics and healers and you want to manifest money or clear your money blocks, or even if you don't want to be a healer or psychic, you want to look at giving money readings, like specifically. So you can choose from any of those 10 courses to enroll in. The more that you obviously enroll in, the more chances you get. Now, it's really important though, there's a couple of just so to avoid getting confused and so you don't miss out. Email to team@saljade.com your purchase certificate. So when they email you a thing to say, congratulations for purchasing this course or whatever it is, email that basically. Now, and because it has to have the November date 2021 on it so that I know that you have enrolled in this month. So basically, and then put the title as Black Friday competition and just email that that particular receipt once you receive it to prove that you've been enrolled to team@saljade.com. Now, you can post it in this group under hashtag Black Friday, but some of you might be a bit nervous. I mean, there's not that much personal information on a receipt, but just in case you don't want to share the name you used to buy the course with your Facebook name, you might prefer then to email it. So the easiest way is just to do hashtag Black Friday and say, I purchased this course, and then put your screenshot, or team@saljade.com and then put Black Friday and then just include a copy of that receipt of any of my other courses that are on Udemy. Now, just say you're like, Sal, I've already purchased all 10 of your courses, or I purchased your VIP Advanced Tarot program. If that is the case, reach out to me separately at sal@saljade.com and let me know what name that you've purchased them on Udemy so I can look it up, and then that's fine. You're still eligible even if you've done all 10 courses. So I didn't want to disqualify anyone who's actually and punish them for having not done my 10 courses. So yeah, then the more that you sign up for, obviously the more entries you get. I'll be announcing it on, I think, December 2nd or December 3rd in the group of who's going to win that free reading. Now, if you are emailing Kathy at team@saljade.com with your screenshot, can you please mention if your Facebook name is different? For the simple reason that when I go to announce the competition, I might just be announcing the person who's the receipt, which might be like if your name's Thomas Johnson and your Facebook name is Tommy, then obviously I won't know that's the same person. So please just mention, hey, my Facebook name is XYZ. If it's different, if it's the same, no problems at all. So to register to win a free reading with me, just send any copies of your proof of purchase so if it's your PayPal receipt or your Payoneer receipt or whichever from Udemy to team@saljade.com, or you can post it under hashtag Black Friday in this group. So I hope that has helped, my loves, and good luck. And as I said, I've been doing these kind of competitions for probably about the last 6 years, I think, and I love giving that reading at the beginning of next year for someone who wants a 12-month forecast or a career reading or a love reading. So good luck to everyone, and if you do need further clarification of what the guidelines are, just pop the question here. So I'm going to answer any questions anyone's got now, and I'll go through. I think that's all. David, I need help with learning tarot. Okay, so David, can I just ask how far into the course you are? How far into Tarot Card Success you are? And then I can answer that a bit better, like where you're up to. Oh, Cheryl says yes, she never gives timelines to clients because it can get a bit confusing. Perhaps the astrological representation with each card can be the time period. Yes. So I teach you how to do that in psychic readings intermediate level and love and career readings, that you can do that as well. You can look at what the astrological card that's related to it as time as well. But keep in mind, the challenge with that is what if you get, say, a Taurus card like the Hierophant, and you think, oh, okay, it's coming in May, but what if it's May next year, not this year? So you've got to be a little bit tricky with that, or careful. I use my intuition to back that up as well. How do you interpret pages in advice position? I received a page of in relationship advice clarified by the page of wands. Wow. Okay, so Camilla, first, I don't know what the advice position is. Is that something you've been taught by me, or is that a different spread? Because I can't, but if I was going to just look at that, to me, the page advice would suggest that you need to just try new things and think like a child, but also be humble. Like, pages are really about, to give someone the information of learning to master the page is actually just being like an apprentice. So if you are at a new job, don't rush in and think you know it all and show off. Like, just be humble, be prepared to ask questions and learn. So anything that is basically just be willing to learn and be prepared to feel like a bit of a novice is how I see the pages. Like, be prepared to just be a bit vulnerable. You're not going to get it straight away, but it will take time, but doesn't, you're on the right track. That's how I would see that. Team@saljade.com. Yes, thanks, Lynn. That's the address. That goes straight to my assistant, Kathy. Team@saljade.com. Yes, but you don't need a big T, just a little T is fine. So just in general, situation, obstacle, advice, and outcome. Yeah, so yeah, I would take, if the page was something that was in an advice position, I would say you just need to be much more, just be prepared to be learning, like, it's actually the advice I've given everyone today who's learning tarot. Just be prepared to, don't rush out and do the super big advanced complex questions that are done by people who have been reading for 5 years. Just start small and build it up, and be prepared to ask for help, and just be also prepared that you're not going to be top of the game straight away. I hope that helps, Camilla. Debbie, you found this really informative. You're not finished with your first course and learning so much. Yay! It helped you realise you're interpreting them properly and are on track. You're not slow, honey. Honest, you're just normal. It takes months to learn this, and I don't want that to put you off, because it's worth it once you do. But it's a little bit just like that information needs to percolate. You need, that more practice, and then it does go in. Awesome. Okay. Has anyone got any other questions for me before I go? I'll just quickly recap on what we covered today. So I talked about the timelines. There is more information about how to get more specific time in the careers reading course, how to give career and life purpose readings, as well as psychic readings intermediate level. If you're not sure which courses to do next, you can just go to www.saljade.com/Udemy courses and just look at whichever courses you feel like you need the most help with. Like, if you're blocked, then go for one of the block courses. If you want more on love readings, go for the love course. So it's completely up to you. It's your beautiful independent learning journey. What else did we talk about? Oh, intense cards. Oh, sorry, I forgot something. So the lovely lady who asked about intense cards, I forgot to add at the end. She says, can you pull an oracle card at the end? Yeah, you absolutely can, and I do teach you how to do that in the advanced tarot program and in the careers reading course, I believe, as well. That just sometimes you can do a reading, and if it's an intense reading and you think, oh, this poor person's got a lot to work on, you can do a little 3-card spread at the end, often with spirit guides, or who can you work with now, how through this journey. Because say you're thinking of leaving your job and you get a whole bunch of cards that suggest it's not going to be the easiest ride on the planet, then sometimes having a few little beautiful oracle cards in the reading can just give you a bit more inspiration and hope. And as I said, calling on like a spirit guide card to sort of say, who can I help me with this journey? That's definitely a great idea. Okay, I think I covered everything. Pretty, to be able to read tarot, do you need to be psychic? So do a tarot course in parallel or before? Look, it helps a lot. Some people can't, the way I talk about it is, so for me, I can give a tarot read. Sometimes my psychic gifts, if I'm really tired, I'll be like, okay, I can't channel information today. I'm just going to rely on the cards. And I will give just as fantastic a reading as if I didn't channel, because sometimes that's just what is called for. I know how to read the cards. And again, that comes with much more practice. It's a bit like, there's certain skills that you have that are much better enriched by other skills. And I think having psychic skills, so doing how to be psychic, and learning how to connect with guides and learning how to connect with angels if you like angels, or ascended masters or gods and goddesses, but also learning how to go within and ask questions. That I think that does definitely help. And psychic readings intermediate level, I teach you how to really strengthen your clairvoyance so you see and get more visuals. So yeah, definitely that does help. It also helps with variety of readings, because sometimes people like to have a little bit of channeled information and some card readings. I like using psychic information for, and as I said, you'll learn that from me in the later courses, but sometimes I'll touch a card and I'll take a moment to breathe in and out, and I'll get a visual, or I'll get like a voice like from one of my guides, and that will just enhance the situation a bit more. So you don't have to, it's not compulsory, but I do believe it helps a lot to do it. So yeah, it's a little bit like starting a Facebook page. You can go on YouTube and you can get a whole lot of information about how to do it. But if you work like either in a direct Facebook course or a mentor, you probably get better results, if that makes sense. So I hope that's helped. So now you're asking, should you do it? It doesn't matter what order you do it. Most people will tend to do the tarot course and then we'll go, okay, now I feel like I'm ready for more psychic. I want to strengthen my clairvoyance. I maybe want to do oracle cards as well. So they go and look at how to be psychic and psychic readings intermediate level too. So they can do that. But again, it's just what you're drawn to and where you feel like you want the most strength. You might go, no, I feel like I'm getting pretty decent readings from my tarot readings. I might just go and do the career reading course and just expand more on how I can see more in the cards, just from the cards, even before I go to the psychic level. So it's totally up to you. There's no right or wrong. I mean, the great thing about Udemy courses is you do have lifetime access. In terms of parallel, I'd probably finish one first rather than do both, because the jumping around might drive you a bit bananas. But yeah, you can definitely finish Tarot Card Success and then go and do psychic readings intermediate level and how to be psychic together. Definitely. I hope that helps, Preeti. Thank you, Luann. Thank you, Preeti. So, is there such thing as too much clarifying? Look, I mean, time-wise, yes. I mean, you don't want to sit here and tell someone if they've come for a 12-month forecast and you're suddenly going into 2 or 3 years what's going to happen to them, and your reading turns into a 1.5-hour reading. I'm very clear in, I think it's Build Your Spiritual Business on a Budget, I talk about timing, and I talk about how really you don't want a tarot reading to go longer than an hour. You just don't. Like, if you're combining it with a healing, that's different. Or say you're going to do some palm reading for half an hour and then a tarot reading, but really a tarot reading, you don't want to go over an hour for it, because I usually find you're just doing more and more and you're kind of getting more and more tired, and then the person's asking more and more questions, and it just ends up in a bit chaotic. So yes, too much time can actually be too much clarifying. Thank you, Christine. Has anyone got any other questions? Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Liz. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And again, if you are watching this on the replay on YouTube, just click the subscribe so that you can basically access this anytime. You don't have to get tagged in the group and wait for me to do it. You'll get it all the time. And that way, if you're not on Facebook a lot, you can always get it. And if you've got any questions about the Black Friday competition, please do post them here. And thank you, Jen. And again, thank you so much for everyone for coming. And again, if you've got questions, just put #replay, like if you're joining me after it's time. If you don't know what time it started, just go and look at the top part and it will tell you what time it started. And if I'm not live anymore, put #replay and I'll be jumping back in to answer you. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining me, and I hope that has helped. And good luck to everyone in the Black Friday competition to win a free tarot reading with me. Mwah. Bye.